It's just the whole principle of the thing for me. It feels like we're selling our daughter.
I mean, I honestly don't get it.
It's never plain sailing for Kobe and Emily, is it? Like, just as they've overcome one obstacle, Kobe's friends, now, out of nowhere, there's another issue. Emily's mum. You see, she's got real issues with the traditional Cameroonian way of doing things.
I get it that it's his tradition. It's not my tradition. I don't want to really be an active participant in taking money for Emily. I don't want to offend your parents, but I also don't want to compromise my beliefs.
So, before we dive into what this all means, before we talk about culture, tradition, compromise and curses, let's just rewind back to the start. So, the last we saw the pair, Emily and Kobe had finally stood up to Kobe's friends at the club. You all need to either shape up, support us, or don't come to our wedding, Kobe said. Things were definitely tense, but when we join them today, they're in a much better mood. They're in a better place. And today's the day they begin their preparation for the traditional Cameroonian wedding.
Today, Lisa and David are watching over the kids while I take Emily to the market because Emily is preparing a Cameroonian dish for my family when they come over for the outdoor.
Kobe's brought Emily to a Cameroonian market. They're here to pick up food supplies in preparation for the traditional knock door ceremony. What's a knock door ceremony, you might ask? Well, that's when Kobe's parents will come round, knock on the door and officially ask Emily's parents for their permission, their blessing for Kobe to marry their daughter. And as part of these proceedings, it's very important that Emily prepares traditional Cameroonian food for them all.
I'm really hoping that, my family loves the food and they will understand that she is really making an effort to embrace the culture.
I mean, I'm a little intimidated because I want to make sure that his family accepts me, especially because last night didn't go well with Kobe's friends.
Yeah, it's really no surprise that Emily's feeling intimidated here, is it? There's a lot riding on her ability to cook Cameroonian dishes, which ironically is exactly what Kobe's friends wanted to see from her too. But before we get to how she's going to handle that, I want to just say that I really like seeing this. I like seeing how Emily's at the market, taking it all very seriously and embracing Kobe's culture. She's being very thoughtful, very considerate, even though what she's seeing is very different to what she's used to.
I mean, this market truly is amazing. I mean, it's far different from a grocery store in America because things aren't refrigerated and it has things that I really didn't even know people would eat.
There's a lot of things that are very, 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 very different to what we in the West would eat. Like, for example, when they get back home, Kobe shares with Emily's mum the traditional cow skin. That's a fundamental, crucial part of the dish that Emily will be preparing later.
Honestly, I'm afraid to touch it. Well, it doesn't smell great, Kobe. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Now, judging by the reaction everyone seems to have when they smell the cow skin, it must really have a pungent smell. But the thing is, again, it's really good to see them all embracing it, open to it. They're asking questions, they want to know more, they want to see how the food turns out. And on that topic of the food, thankfully, Emily's not being expected to make this all alone. You see, Kobe's enlisted the help of his sister, who's coming round to show Emily the ropes. And she's very eager to make sure that her brother's eating okay back in the States.
He likes to eat it very well. He likes traditional dish. I cannot imagine him going without eating the traditional dish if the wife does not know how to prepare the food.
I mean, okay, I understand why she's worried, and I get that Kobe's probably not eating Cameroonian food back in the States. But, I mean, he looks okay. He hasn't complained about American food or Emily's cooking. So I wonder, what do they eat back at home? Like, what might Emily rustle up on a Tuesday evening for dinner, for example?
What would his parents think if I made a bunch of American food instead of Cameroonian food? What if I made meatloaf? Because you like meatloaf. Mashed potatoes, apple pie, homemade ice cream.
I think in answer to your question, Emily, given that the whole purpose of this exercise is to show you're able to take care of their son in a Cameroonian way, serving them meatloaf probably wouldn't go down too well. But again, credit where it's due. For as wildly different as this is to what she's used to, she's taking it all in her stride. She really, really wants to make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible with his parents.
So I worry that if I mess stuff up with his family and then nobody in Cameroon likes me, then this whole trip is just gonna be a show.
Look, I can really empathise with Emily. Like, I'm rooting for this knock door to be a little victory that they can all celebrate together. From the moment that she's landed, it's been non-stop pressure, all eyes on her. Everyone's been looking to see how she handles everything. Like, just when she thinks she's dodged one bullet, another obstacle's gonna pop up, and we'll get to that shortly. And when we join them the next morning, Kobe informs us that Emily's not the only one who's expected to make preparations for the knock door meeting later today.
Emily's parents need to come up with a list of things that they request from my family before we can get married traditionally. And that list will include whatever they want and the bride price.
Okay, so that sounds simple enough. It sounds very much like a dowry, doesn't it? That's something that many traditions, many people around the world are familiar with. So, as far as I can understand, as far as this whole Cameroonian wedding goes, Kobe, Emily and Kobe's parents will be handling all of the wedding day preparation. The one thing that Emily's parents are asked to do is to provide a list of requests. And it's great to see that Emily's dad has clearly given this a lot of thought.
Okay, the first thing is a goat. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much reasonable.
And we won't take it home with us, but we can maybe leave it here and they can have it as a pet or, or eat it.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to see. It's something that he's clearly researched and he's put thought into. Like, he's not going to fly back to the States with a goat, is he? He's going to leave it for Kobe's parents. So his request is something that's going to benefit them, ultimately. He's clearly done his research. He understands what traditionally would be expected on a list like this. But given that this is his opportunity for presents, he does also include one or two items that are perhaps a little less traditional.
We need an umbrella.
Okay, good.
Okay, I want a wooden cane.
Okay.
And some African shirts, just regular shirts. 2 shirts.
2 shirts.
Now, Kobe's happy with all of this. He's actually thrilled. He loves the fact that Dave's done his homework. He's nicely blended traditional with non-traditional. He's being respectful to Cameroonian culture and traditions. But for as enthusiastic as Emily's dad has been, her mum isn't quite on the same page, particularly when it comes to the issue of bride price.
But that bride price has to be there.
Okay.
I just have to say that I don't like it.
This is our tradition, and whatever thing you have on that list, it's just part of honoring the tradition.
Look, Lisa, I understand your objection. I understand it might not be your cup of tea, but just play the game. Just go through the motions. Like, treat it as respect. Just show the level of respect that Kobe's parents want. That's it. Don't overthink it. In the same way that Kobe's embraced all elements of American life, just extend the same courtesy. Just respect his cultural practices, his cultural norms. Like, don't think of it as selling your daughter, because that's not what it is.
It's a sign of appreciation.
Exactly.
This is it. We're not selling her to
Well,
Kobe.
either way, it feels like we're taking money for a person. That's what it feels like.
Oh, come on, Emily's mum. There's a time and a place. There's a right thing and a wrong thing to take a stand on. And this is the wrong thing. Like, you're not selling off your daughter. Don't worry, you don't need to fret. This isn't like some old clothing, right? This isn't a second-hand car transaction. You're not selling her off never to see her again. Don't worry, Emily and Kobe are gonna go straight back to living in your basement next week.
I understand that. It's just the whole principle of the thing for me.
Yeah.
It feels like we're selling our daughter.
I honestly don't get it.
Lisa, take a breather. Relax. Look, it's not that deep. Literally, no one else has a problem with it. Emily's okay with it. Dave's okay with it. Kobe reassures her this is totally normal. It's been going on for millions of years in Africa. His words. Like, it's not a sale. That's not how to think of it. And honestly, at this point, they're married anyway. This is just about simply honouring tradition. Plus, Kobe says, if we don't do this, it's not just my parents who won't be happy, but we might end up cursing my family, cursing your grandkids.
So, like, if we don't do it, then the ancestors are going to curse you, or what?
Not you, it's not your family. Now, this is my family with my kids. We have to respect this part of the culture.
This is clearly very important for Kobe. He explains that not honouring this part of the tradition might result in bad luck befalling his kids in the future, and he doesn't want that on his conscience. It really does seem to be something he believes in, something that's important to him, and something that's very easy for Lisa to just play along with. I understand it's not her tradition, but that's beside the point. This isn't about her tradition. This is about respecting Kobe and his family's traditions. Look, even in Western countries, marriage does often involve financial security. Like, it really isn't that wild. It shouldn't be that outlandish to her. So why make such a fuss?
Personally, I haven't decided if this is going to happen, this part of the tradition. In the end, we are given money and they're taking Emily. What is that?
And even when Kobe makes it very clear that not giving a bride price will mean the entire wedding gets called off, Lisa doesn't really seem to care. She's having real difficulty coming to terms with this. So just when it seemed like Kobe and Emily's dramas might be behind them, it now seems it's Emily's mum's turn to now put the entire wedding at risk.